Hello and welcome to another Ask Nerida Joy video. I have Christina back with me here again today. This is her second visit here, and we first saw Christina 3 weeks ago. She came in, her skin was very bumpy and very dehydrated, and I did not do extractions on her last time. We needed to really hydrate her skin and get her skin to a point where I could then move on to extractions if needed later on. But at this point, what we did the last time was just really hydrate her skin and just try to help to figure out why she has all these little bumps under her skin. When you have that dryness on top, it's really hard for things to come out underneath. So we had to prep her skin, get her on a really good home care regimen to start softening and to start hydrating her skin so that everything in this congestion underneath could be released. And I was excited to see her today because she had texted me and said, "I can't wait for you to see my skin. It's so much better." And so we have her back here on the table. I will say that a week ago, she did text me and said that her skin was a little bit sensitive. I had given her a very ordinary moisturizer that was a non-comedogenic moisturizer, had no AHA and no retinols in it as part of her home care regimen, but it was irritating her skin a little bit, and she said she felt it was burning when it went on her skin. So I said, "Come back in, I need to give you another moisturizer." Again, another moisturizer that has no AHA and no retinols in it, but I needed to give her something else. And so we changed her over onto the other moisturizer. Today she has said it's so much better, the new moisturizer. And you know, I'm just pointing this out because you don't have to have AHAs and retinols in a moisturizer for it to be irritating. So sometimes, you know, people are sensitive to all kinds of different ingredients, and it's really important to just keep good communication with your clients to make sure that they're seeing that their skin is improving, and if they are having any issues at all, that they can contact you to let you know if something doesn't feel right. Of course, you know, AHAs will tingle a little bit on the skin, but if they're using a product that doesn't have AHAs in it and it is stinging their skin or making their skin feel tight and uncomfortable, then your client needs to let you know that this is going on because it's not right. So I'm really glad that she reached out to me, and we quickly rectified that, gave her another moisturizer, and now she's doing great. So I can't wait to see her skin. Her skin looks so much better. As I said, it was really dehydrated last time, and when a skin is dehydrated and you have a lot of congestion underneath, then nothing can come out. The oil can't get out, it's just locked underneath, and if you've got oil locked underneath, then that means it's going to stretch your pores, because within that pore, oil is made up of dead cells, bacteria and sebum, and it stretches the pore, and that's what makes your pores large. So it's really important to keep the outer layer of the skin soft and supple so that, you know, oil can get out and anything that you're putting on your skin can go into the skin too, so, and do what it's supposed to be doing. So it's really important to get rid of the dehydration. It's also really important to understand that, you know, when you start working with clients, whether you're an SD out there watching my video or not, that it's important to understand that you can't sometimes do, you know, everything at one time. You need to look at what the priorities are in what's going to get the skin better, and work with different treatments to get it to a certain place. So in Christina's case, we needed to get rid of her dehydration, because if you don't get rid of the dehydration, there's no point even thinking about anything else. You know, there's no point thinking about trying to, number one, do extractions and clean up her skin, and number two, to help marks or anything else on the skin, because if anyone has scarring, you know, you've got to look at why they have the scarring, and is there still infection within the mark on the face? Because if there's infection within the mark, the scar on the face, then the mark's not going to go away. So it's really important to, you know, to prep the skin and condition it, and there are levels which, you know, the skin needs to get to a certain place before you move on to the next level. So just recently, in fact, I think it was last night, I had someone had called me, and she had said, she's an esthetician, and she had said that she was really scared of using peels on her client's skin. And I said to her, you should be, because you have to be very, very comfortable and be very familiar with, number one, your products that you're using on your clients, and number two, you have to really work with AHAs and retinols to get the skin, to prepare the skin before you do peels on your clients anyway. So if you want to get a really good result on your client's face, you need to have had them on either AHAs or retinols for some time before you then go on and do a peel, because a peel is the last resort. That's what you do once you've already cleaned up most of the acne and the skin's really clean, and now you're just left with large pores and possibly scarring or pitting. So it's important that the steps you have to do to prepare for your client's skin to get better. And if you do the steps and you just don't rush in and try and do everything at one time, then you're going to get better results that way. So it's really important to understand that don't be in a hurry, and you need to explain to your clients what it is you're going to do. So today we need to prepare your skin. In Christina's case, it was that her skin was really dehydrated, and at that point in her last treatment, it's like, we're not doing extractions today because your skin is so dehydrated. To try to extract her skin the way it was 3 weeks ago, I would have just been damaging her skin. So this is the steps that we're going to do, and you need to outline it and to explain to your client that this is what we're doing in this treatment, and the next treatment when you come in, then this is what we're going to be doing in that one. But as I said to Christina last time when she was here, is that I didn't know if I was going to take her off foods until I saw her the next time. Because her skin was so dehydrated, I really needed to see what was going on with her skin, and to see if I can get her skin better just by giving her some home care regimen to help her hydration in her skin. And hydration is different from nourishment, okay? Because when most people have surface dehydration, as Christina did, her skin's oily underneath, and you can see she's very shiny right now. I haven't touched her skin, but if they have oil underneath and dryness on top, it is a major, major problem, and it's the biggest problem that I see. So this surface area is what we call the subcondition. That's the area that you and we esties can fix by changing their home care regimen. And for Christina's, who's oily underneath, so we really needed to get rid of that dryness on top to then see why she has the little bumps underneath, and if I needed to take her and put her on a Candida diet. I can see underneath here that she's not as surface dry. I haven't even touched her skin to clean it yet, but I can see by looking at it that she's nowhere near as surface dry. Her skin is much better. It has a different color, if you remember her skin last time, and we'll slip in some pictures there so you can see. Her skin was very dull and very flat and very bumpy and very surface dry. And at this point, I really need to have a look at her skin today to see whether I'm going to actually put her on a Candida diet. She is looking a little bumpy under there, which I'll know when I touch her skin as to whether the bumps is the Candida that I mentioned earlier. And so I'm just going to cleanse off her skin. We'll have a look at her skin and just see where she's at right now with her regimen. It just looks so much better. So we'll just cleanse off her skin and get going here. So I'm using the K cleanser, which is my go-to always cleanser because it's a non-foaming gel, and I talk an abundance about non-foaming cleansers because they're so important to use a non-foaming on the skin. And I still, in my questions on my videos, under my comments, I still get asked about different cleansers that are foaming. And so I I don't like foaming cleansers. I don't like them for most people, and I talk a lot about this because cleansing is 50% of your regimen. So it's really important that you don't use a foaming cleanser. And if you are using a foaming cleanser and you live in a very humid climate and you have a very oily skin and it all seems to be fine, then that's fantastic. But for most people, if you are surface dry, you cannot use a foaming cleanser. So don't ask me in my comments about a foaming cleanser, because 9 times out of 10, or probably 10 times out of 10, my answer to you will be don't use a foaming cleanser. They create too much of a problem, and they create sensitivity and stripping and dryness on the surface of the skin, and it's a major problem. So don't use foaming cleansers, and just stick with something that's very simple. Cleanse your skin well, use a washcloth at night time, and make sure it's a clean one. A warm, wet washcloth when you wash your face is really important. And then the second cleanse, just rinse it off and then wipe your face with a clean towel. So that's how you cleanse your skin, and it's really important to put effort into it, because a lot of people, they don't clean their skin well enough, and especially if they're using a toner. That toner is a second in their mind, often a second form of a cleanse for people. I don't usually recommend toners. I do suggest to people to make sure that when you cleanse your skin, to make sure that you put effort into cleansing your skin, and that you are getting under the fine facial hair that we all have on our face. It's really important to put effort into cleaning your skin at night. So we're just cleansing off. Her skin feels so much better. It is definitely not anywhere near surface dry. In fact, I think it's almost, if she has any surface dryness, it's very little, and it is just up here on her forehead. So Christina's really done a good job with her home care regimen. She's got rid of that dryness. Her skin coloring, her texture, everything is different. Her skin is dewier and brighter and more youthful looking. She doesn't have that grayness that she had. She has a little bit of grittiness underneath the skin, but I'm going to say that she's still got a little bit of irritation there on her cheeks. And anyway, we'll have a look when I pull the light down and have a closer look at her skin, just to see what we're going to do with her diet. So we're cleansing off the skin right now. She has a couple of little pustules on her face that I am going to take out today. I've cleansed off her skin. I want to have a look at her skin to see if I'm going to do an exfoliation on her, how I'm going to do it, because I might mix it with the healing gel. Her skin, she still has a little bit of sensitivity on her cheeks. She had a lot of that last time underneath the dryness and this build up, this outer layer, but she still has a little bit of sensitivity. So I want to have a look at her skin under the Maggie lamp before we go on and do our exfoliation. I'll put some goggles over her eyes, bring the light over and the camera over, and we'll have a look at her skin now. So what we have, I can see Christina's skin. Her skin is not as dehydrated as last time, and we've got, she's still got these little bumps under her skin. So today I'm going to do some extractions on her skin now that her skin is no longer as surface dry, and I know they're going to come out much, much easier now looking at her skin. She needs some good extraction, and then I'm going to do an AHA on her. So I think today we're really going to focus looking at her skin. I'm still not going to put her on any kind of a diet. I think we're still dealing with just overactive sebaceous glands, a ton of oil under her skin. I don't feel it is diet related, but I do want to do a good cleaning on her, as I said, and just clean this up so that next time I see her, I think we're going to be in really good shape with her skin. So we're going to move it on down to the nose area still. She's got some open pores there still, but at least we're not dealing with the surface dehydration like we were before. So it does need cleaning, her skin. She does need extractions. We're going to move on down to this left side of the cheek. So we can see the cheek area here. She's got, she's got some pustules. She needs some good cleaning. She's a little bit irritated here on her cheek, and that's what, now working with the products that she's doing, it's getting better and better, but she's definitely lost that dryness, that build-up, that thick, dull build-up on the outer layer there. So now we can really get in, do a good cleaning on her skin. And the chin area too, still some pustules down there on that chin area, and just some congestion. We're still going to work with that, and again, I'm just going to do really good extractions on her today, and that's going to help her skin tremendously. Okay, so we are back. We've looked at Christina's skin through the Maggie lamp. I have seen that her skin is nowhere near as surface dry as it was 3 weeks ago when I first saw her. And she's still a little bit irritated underneath. She's still got some ruddiness on her cheeks, some little bumps there. I know that as we work through and as she gets going a little bit more with her at-home skincare regimen, that's going to get better. I am not going to take her off certain foods at the moment. I think her skin is just really oily, and we're going to just keep her going with what she's doing. With her home care regimen, because I think after today we're going to do a good cleaning, her skin will be so much better. So we're going to, first I'm going to exfoliate her skin. I'm going to use a little bit of healing gel, mix it with the exfoliating mask. I'm not going to massage a lot into her skin. She's got some pustules there that, you know, when you massage pustules, you break open pustules, you spread infections, so that's not always so great to do that. So we don't want to be spreading infection. I just want to get in after I do my exfoliation and do a really good cleaning on her skin. So we're going to work in the exfoliating mask, and I'm using healing gel and exfoliating mask together, working it in here. It's going to be a little bit stingy on her skin, and this is it's good to exfoliate the skin. Just helps. It's another form of a cleanse, especially in treatment. It's not something that you need to be doing every single day at home, but it is for some people, you know, they need to exfoliate 2 or 3 times a week. For other people, they may only exfoliate once a week, and for some people, they may exfoliate once every 10 days to 2 weeks. If you are using AHAs and retinols on a regular basis, you often don't need to exfoliate the skin at all, and that is where I'm at. Because I use retinols and AHAs, certainly AHAs every single day, I do not need to exfoliate my skin, because AHAs are a form of an exfoliant. Because of the glycolic that is in the AHA that I'm using at the moment, it does eat away at the cells, you know, it absorbs dead cells. So I'm not having to use an exfoliant myself personally. And it's nice when, you know, when you don't have surface dehydration, to be able to get to a place where you don't need to exfoliate, because your products do that for you. So I'm going to work it in. This was an area up here on Christina's forehead that was still a little bit surface dry. So we want to work this in and massage it into her skin, because remember, I'm not going to be massaging in really treatment creams into her skin. After this, I take this off, I'm going to be putting a little bit of healing gel on her skin, just working it in for a minute or 2, and then using a warm towel, and we're getting started straight into her extractions. So I'm going to use 2 warm towels, and we're going to take off the exfoliating mask. I'm going to let them cool quite a bit, because the exfoliating mask has a little bit of glycolic in it, so it's a little stingy on the skin, and that can make the skin sensitive. So you don't want to have really hot towels to take it off. You want them to be cooler so that it's not adding to the burning of the exfoliating mask. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of healing gel, and I'm just going to work it into her skin for a minute, because her skin will be a little bit tingly right now. I'm just doing it very lightly on her skin. I'm going to get some clean water with my sponges and just take the excess off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the goggles over her eyes, Christina's eyes, and I'm going to do some extractions. Okay, so we are back. I'm extracting Christina's skin right now, and as you can see, there is some blood here. She has quite a lot of extractions. She just also told me in the past when she'd had extractions done that when they had extracted her skin, it had only been for a very short time. She said maybe in the past when she'd had treatments done that they would only take out about 10 different, 10 little blackheads or congested areas. So clearly I've spent probably about almost 10 minutes on the right hand side of her face. I'm going to go back and we're going to film the other side of her face, because there are a couple of things that I want to point out as I'm extracting her skin. Is number one, that her skin is very sensitive, and it's sensitive because of the coloring, what's coming up. Now remember, her skin was sensitive, a little bit sensitive before we started, but I'm feeling a lot of heat coming out of her skin right now. So now we're back to foods. I am going to take her off foods now. Once I've started extracting her, I'm realizing that she's got a lot of inflammation within her body because I can feel the heat. And that was not from my previous treatments of just working in treatment products. I didn't feel it, but as I'm extracting, there's a lot of inflammation around her pustules and even her congested areas. What I'm taking out, she's really hot in her face, and it is not from steam. So of course having the light over you does make you hot, but she has definitely got heat inside her body, so she has inflammation there. So I am going to be taking her off foods. She did say to me that she feels her face pulsating, and again, it's a lot of heat. It's a lot of stimulation there. I hardly massaged her skin, so you saw how long I massaged it for, barely a minute, and that was just with a healing gel. So she does have a lot of heat, and I am going to take her off products. And so we're going to move on over. I'm going to ask the cameraman to come over with the camera. You can see I'm going to do some extractions on the other side of the cheek. Things are coming out very easily on her skin today, so we're going to continue on and just give her a really good cleaning. So what we're seeing here is I've just finished the extractions. We can see on Christina's skin that she's got some welting going on. So before, when we said that her skin was very sensitive, this is what I'm talking about. It's sensitive. I can feel heat in her skin as well. So we're going to take her off her tomatoes, her bell peppers, and the red wine if she's drinking wine. Those are the very important foods that she does go off, and but she has some welting going on, so her skin is really sensitive. And so I'm just going to use a lotion over top now that we've done the extractions. I'm just checking here to make sure that I've given her a pretty good cleaning, just around the sides of her nose where she's got a few more little blackheads. I'm going to just go over it with a tool to get around her little nose ring and to do some of the areas just in the crevices there of the nose. And so I'm going to do that right now too. So what I've got is I've got a couple of my tools here that I really like. And my tools are what I like to work with, these specific kinds. When I'm needing something a little bit more precise around the nose area or inside the ear. So my tools here, one has quite a very large and a very thick base down here, which I don't really use these ones here too much. What I do like is I like a really, really thin, very thin little loop. And the thinner the loop, the more careful you have to be, because you can break skin. So when you're doing it, it gets the actual blackhead out better, but you do have to be very careful. And this one, if you can see, is sloped like on an angle, and that's why it's so great for things like the ears. But we're going to go in, and I'm going to use my very fine little tool here around the sides of the nose. And because she has a nose ring, I'm just going to go gently around it with the very thin little loop. There are some areas that are just very difficult to get to with your fingers. So that's why it's always great to have tools, and I've got several of them. But they're really sort of especially around the sides of the nose, they really help to clean it up very nicely. And it does hurt having this done. You know, it isn't something that doesn't hurt. So you want to make sure that it's you're being very careful. Okay, so we've done a really good cleaning here, and I'm just now going to go over the skin with some lotion. So we've done extractions on Christina, and we've given her a really good cleaning. We've seen that her skin was welting, which happens sometimes when people have very sensitive skin. She was also, she had a lot of heat in her skin as I was extracting, and I could feel it through my gloves. So we will be taking her off certain foods, and those are the inflammation foods. So right now I'm using a tonic. I've just finished all the extractions. I'm using a tonic on her skin, and before I put on the AHA, now I'm going to use an AHA that isn't too strong and too burning on her skin, and the reason being is that I don't want to fry her skin. So when you are dealing with a skin that has color and the melanin is quite dark, you want to make sure that you're not frying the skin, because if you fry the skin with something too strong, it's very sensitive to burn, and then you can cause more pigment issues, and you can burn the skin. She's going to get too dark in certain areas where we've extracted. So you've got to be really careful. It's a very, very sensitive skin. Her skin is very sensitive. We have to be very careful whatever we put on the skin, that it doesn't fry the outer layer, but we do want to get down and we do want to put something on the skin that's really going to work on those lower levels and just help with the overabundance of oil in her skin. And that's what I'm going to do next.